I see you adjusting the many things here.
See,
in the podcast.
that's why I don't let you bring it in, man.
What happened?
I said right before we go in, I said, "You bring it in, Kevin." And he looks at me like, "What? I bring it in?"
No, I wasn't afraid of bringing it in. I was just watching what you were doing.
But you didn't bring it. You brought nothing.
You didn't bring it.
Good morning, LOCPODers.
That's what I'm talking about.
There's that
Tuesday.
Yeah.
You're supposed to say something about Belgium.
That's always your line.
I know.
Hello, Antwerp.
Well, morning, everybody. Welcome to LOCPOD, your favorite podcast.
Season 5, Episode 3.
That's right.
Episode 3.
I think the show's over. We did the whole show in the 5-minute intro.
Yeah,
no one heard it, though.
I know. Like
it was great.
We do a lot of good material.
Where's Phil Taillon? I thought it was like Phil Taillon is our guest.
I know.
Did you advertise for that?
There's an empty chair.
Well, he'll be here. Phil will be here a little bit. That's always good comedic relief.
Why would I advertise Phil Taillon?
I'm sure
people would be like, I don't need to.
I was under the impression he was starting the show with us.
I thought he was too.
I'm sure he took Alabama last night, so he's just licking his wounds.
By the way, man,
He did.
That was a whooping.
Yeah, it was. I took Georgia.
I did not.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the under.
I was working hard yesterday. I didn't really even get to watch the game because my freaking campaign manager is like jacking my schedule up.
I appreciate.
I'm looking at
fact
the other
that
side
you're
of the
going to the
studio.
road.
Yeah,
You're
I was on
willing
the road
to go
for
on the
6
road.
hours. Check this out. You want to hear a funny story? So the other day, I'm on the road, okay? And I'm coming back from Indy on this one. This is a couple weeks ago, right? And I'm leaving Indy, and it's like bad traffic situation, and I have like not even a quarter tank of gas. Let's say like less than an eighth of a tank.
Like the light was on?
The light was on.
Okay.
But that usually means I have 60 miles.
Sure.
So like I could get almost a Lafayette with the light on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Good
like the
traffic.
light had been on for like a little bit, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get out of this traffic nightmare, and then I'm gonna get some gas, and then I'm gonna drive home, right?
All right.
And of course,
Let me ask you this: are you generally like a light on guy?
no,
I'm not either.
I'm anal, man.
Right. I'm like
I fill up.
quarter tank.
I don't
better
ever
fill up.
I fill up like all
I'm
the way.
with you. Okay, good. I just
So
want to find
anyway,
out
so
this
this
like
is
a normal
different for
situation.
me, right?
Agreed. Okay.
I'm like gonna fill up, but I just can't get it done in the city because of the traffic, and it's just a nightmare. And then I make a horrible mistake. I call Kevin Smith, right?
That doesn't. Why is it
Oh no.
a horrible mistake? You
Well,
mean in
forgot
general
about
or
the
on that
gaslight.
day?
So Kevin just like starts bombarding me with bullshit, right? Like stuff I have
doubt
to
it was
do,
bullshit.
things I have to do, like problems that we have, like deep, complex problems, right? And I'm freaking like,
complex
The
problem.
I'm
road is a
freaking-
great place for Tom and I to actually catch up.
for me, like, let me dump on you, Tom.
Not dump.
So I'm driving and like I'm stressed. Like Kevin's like dumping like stress on me. Here, take some of this off of me. Let me throw it on you for your drive
Make
home.
me feel
right?
good.
So I'm like sitting there and I'm driving. I get through Indy, and then Lebanon is like the last vestige of civilization
For a while, till Lafayette. Yeah,
right?
Good point. Yep.
And I pass Lebanon.
Okay.
Freaking red light is solidly red. It's like
You mean, but you
solidly-
didn't realize it? You
no,
didn't, you
like
were-
Kevin's talking to me about the red tape of our campaign, and I'm like stressed, pulling my hair out, and then like I'm literally like in the cornfields, and I look down, dude. I am so on E, and this is like 2-lane,
Now
like
that's
walled
stress. That's real stress.
in. Oh man, my whole day just changed at that point. Like I'm stuck in a 2-lane. And I have no gas, and I know for a fact when I left the parking garage, I was on E, and I'm like, I am in the middle of a cornfield. I don't even know where the next exit is. Right?
Well, what was the plan? Like, I'll get off at Lebanon, or I'll get off at. Okay, yeah, got it.
Get off at Lebanon. Get off before Lebanon. I usually wouldn't even push it to Lebanon, and I'm past Lebanon with no exit in sight. Right? And I'm cursing
would stress
Kevin.
me out.
Oh my god, dude! I'm like, I turn off the air conditioner, turn the stereo down,
No.
like I'm doing everything. Right?
Full disclosure, we were off the phone with
that
each other
helps.
by now. I mean,
The stereo has to go down in a situation like that.
for
You can't be
sure.
jamming out the jukebox. Like I turned everything off. Like I stopped breathing.
We're not on the phone. Like you had already hung up
No,
and you
dude.
realized it.
Heat
No.
warmers.
So
Seat
you-
warmers are off.
Everything's off,
Yeah.
dude. Like
Wow.
I took like tying my shoes. Like I'm ready for like. So like I am like going like 55 miles an hour. Like
Sure.
I'm like everybody's passing me, and then I see an exit, and it's not like a gas station or anything. It's like an exit. And it won't even tell me where the nearest gas station is. It says it's like the next exit up, which is way far away, like 30 miles. I'm like, there's no way.
Oh my!
So I get off at the next exit and I do a query on my phone, and it's like, okay, there's a gas station 8 miles away now that you're off here,
backtrack probably.
but you have to go back to Lebanon.
Oh my!
And I'm like on the country road now. At least I'm on the country roads because I'm like, if I break down here, somebody's super nice out here. They're gonna help me out.
Sure.
but
Or they're
I'm
going to
going
murder you.
Or
One of the other.
I'm assuming good Hoosiers are gonna take care of me, Jill. So I'm driving like 40, just going so slow. And I swear I barely made it into the gas station 8 miles later. And I totally backtracked all the way back to Lebanon.
I
through the country
apologize.
road.
I'll have to remember.
You're lucky they were open.
That
Yeah.
is another
Well,
thing.
it was a daytime.
I'm gonna
It
from
wasn't
now
last
on.
night. Yeah.
When I call you on the road, I'm just gonna say, "What does your gas gauge say?"
What's your gas situation?
That's right. Before we get into
Before we
the many
get into
minutia
this.
of the campaign,
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I was so stressed. I showed Kevin where I realized I ran out of where I had
we
no
were
gas.
we were
Been
driving
there.
together.
It was so sticks. I was so in the sticks.
and that was where, by the way, no shoulder because it was construction.
no shoulder.
Uh-huh.
Right.
It was one of those, John. You know, like when you're in no shoulder and you're thinking, like, man, I hope
Yeah.
nobody breaks down here because this thing will back up forever. It was one of those.
Oh yeah, 4 years in Rensselaer, I get you.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was similar type of neighborhood where I was. And another interesting observation on the road, coming back from South Bend the other day, I decided to swing by the Notre Dame bookstore
Ah,
because I'm going to buy a
did
jersey.
you buy that?
No, I did not. I've had this. I have so much Notre Dame stuff, but I was going to buy something. This is before Christmas. Okay,
Okay.
I'm going to buy Marissa a football jersey, like a woman's Notre Dame football jersey. Because I
Nice.
was thinking, yeah, good husband stuff, right? Stop by the bookstore. No jerseys in the bookstore.
Sold out?
No, they don't sell them anymore. And I'm like, what? Notre Dame bookstore doesn't sell jerseys? That's where you go to
No
buy jerseys.
at the bookstore?
No. So I'm talking to people. I'm like, where are all your football jerseys? They're like, we don't sell them anymore. I'm like, why? And they're like, because of the name, image,
Oh,
likeness.
NIL.
If we put a quarterback's name on the back, we have to pay the quarterback. We're not going to do that. We're Notre Dame, right?
Name, image, likeness.
Right. Hey, Phil, what's up?
Gentlemen
So,
I mean, nothing
Jill's
like
there
the
too, by the way.
present.
and ladies,
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Nothing
all right.
like the present. The
Yeah,
show
tell
starts
her.
at 7:30, Phil.
Yeah,
I thought I was.
we're on
Just
Phil time.
I thought it was an 8:00 a.m. guest. I thought
Really?
that's what I.
Then why
No,
are you
you're
here?
not a
Then
real
why are
guy.
you here at 7:40?
I like to get here
Go
prompt.
outside until
I
8.
like to get
then.
here
I
early,
mean,
guys.
it's one or the other. Either you're late or you thought you were at 8 and you're supposed to wait outside.
You guys know me. I'm an early riser.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm an early meeting guy.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Always on
Everybody
time.
knows
This is
that
the guy I
about me.
know. Welcome
Phil-
to season 5, Phil.
Hey, happy 2022, gentlemen and ladies.
Cinco.
Yeah.
Why would you even agree to come on here, Phil? It's just going to be one big roast for an hour.
I'm ready.
Tell
Bring
us
it
how
on.
you took Alabama.
He's late, so it's not an hour.
I officially had Georgia.
I
Oh,
did not.
wow.
I took Alabama because who bets
Officially.
against the Tide?
That's what Charlie told me, and I said I took Georgia.
I've never seen Alabama as an underdog, and it's apparent why.
True. Yeah.
Right.
It was
They're an
a-
underdog.
Well, the only thing is that receiver getting injured right in the beginning
Did
of the
not
game
help them.
Did
Yeah.
not
That was
help
a
Alabama.
running back, right?
No, it was their. I think it was their top receiver.
I thought he was a running back. He got hurt on a run.
I don't know.
But I think he's a running back that plays receiver.
that could be.
It was one of their top guys. I know
Yeah,
that.
But
he
was
is like one of their top guys. But yeah,
Alabama just beat Georgia by 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And
That's
they
what I
were
thought.
3-point underdogs. It didn't make any sense. It was a trap game.
Were there many players that had opted out of the championship for
I don't
NFL type stuff, or
I don't
no? They
think
don't
so.
do it for the.
I don't think you do
championship?
that
I
for
wouldn't
the-
do it for the
for the big
championship.
bowls.
No, I
Yeah.
wouldn't think so. Mm.
yeah.
Well, Georgia's the champion.
Well, welcome to the studio, Phil
Thanks,
Taylor.
gentlemen. I'm
Yeah.
happy to be here.
Want
We're
to do?
just about to get into your travels. You want to do that? Or you
Yeah,
wanna-
man. I wish we had a soundboard where we could do like on the road again, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, it'd
Well,
be nice.
it's in the box back there.
Oh, at least we bought it. We used our hard-earned cash to buy things like this. I'm sure by season 6 we'll be streaming you.
Wow, John.
Oh, look at that. It's there again.
John's
I
like,
don't
wait,
know what happened, dude.
John
I
was
think
sleeping.
he needs a new board too.
Yeah, I need a new
right.
soundboard.
So on the road. So I haven't done this since last week, since our first episode in. I did. So this is the last 7 days of my life. Interesting trips on the road. I went last week. I was on the road for 2 days, 2 nights actually, 3 days, 2 nights. I came back on the third day and went straight to City Hall. By the way, Southside Democratic Club in Indianapolis. I was a keynote speaker, which was a really cool little They had like a
Clubhouse.
yeah, really cool headquarters in Fountain Square.
And very active club, I think.
Yeah, for sure. We know lots of people in that club.
Saw Ryan Mears was there with you.
Ryan Mears came by, and that was the day before he appeared on. A couple days before he appeared on our show.
Saw Elise Schrock posted a tweet.
Elise Schrock
of you
was
guys.
there. Yeah,
very cool.
Her boyfriend and
Brandon.
yeah, but no. So that was a good trip. I crashed overnight in Indy that night. And then the next day I did a work. Oh no! Next day I met with the sheriff of Marion County, Sheriff Forrestal, and in Marion County they have a brand new public safety building where all the courts have been moved to. and all the county jails.
So not in the city county building anymore.
No, it's actually 15 minutes outside of the city.
No kidding.
For $100 million project,
Didn't know that.
$500 million project.
Whoa. Wow.
All the judges are in one building, and they're
All
not
the criminal judges are now out at that public safety
and
building.
civil. all the judges in Marion County are going to be out of this one building, and it's located right next to their brand new jail.
Did not know that.
And the sheriff's a great guy. And and it's interesting because Marion County is Unigov, so the IMPD and the sheriff I always thought they were the same thing, but they're not. The sheriff is basically what we call the U.S. Marshal. The sheriff is just the jail
serves
warden.
the warrants and
Serves warrants and guards the jail. That's what the sheriff in Marion County does. Whereas our sheriff does that and also patrols unincorporated areas of Lake County. But has
jurisdiction all throughout. I mean, they come to Hammond sometimes too and help Gary and
the sheriff of
Lake County.
Oh yeah. Okay. So anyway, went to the public safety building, but Sheriff Forrestall gave us a nice tour. Great guy. Then did some call time. That's always a blast. And hit the road. So I did the business day in Indy. I stay at this one hotel so often that they let me check out late.
Very nice.
I checked out at 2:00.
Nice.
Hit the road. Went to Floyd County, which is not as far south as you can go, but on 65, it's the furthest south you can go. If you take 65 to Louisville, basically, where I went to their New Year's party. And
Floyd County is
New Albany. Right, New Albany. So I went down there. I've actually been down there quite a bit. I don't know.
It's a nice little city, by the way.
Democrat, by the way.
Yeah.
Democratic area, Democratic mayor, very receptive. It's nice to get down there. Did candidates night there. And then, like I've been doing, I've been crashing at Louisville. So I went to Louisville, crashed. I wake up the next day. I'm like 5 minutes from the airport, and I just go to the airport and fly home.
Yeah, that's a great way to get home from there.
So that was a one-way car rental from the region to Louisville, flew home, got picked up, went to work. And then I did Friday night, drove to Fort Wayne, took my team out to dinner. And then the next day we woke up in Fort Wayne where I did Allen County Democratic event. I was keynote speaker there.
What a crowd.
That was a huge crowd.
I mean, Chairman
we had
Derek,
a huge
Camp, Phil Giaquinta was there, a bunch of local elected officials. Really cool.
City council members, sheriff candidates. I've been in Allen County a few times also, and obviously the mayor and I are good friends. Mayor Tom Henry and I are good friends, and he's got a lot of his people helping me, which I appreciate very much. Mayor Henry's been mayor almost as long as me. And so anyway, we had a huge crew of door knockers out there too. I didn't notice Phil or John there. Or
John
Whoa.
Oh, my bad.
Easy.
John was there.
Easy,
John was there. I
easy.
didn't know. My bad, John.
John was my
than
partner,
Kevin.
man. John was my
sorry,
partner.
John. I'm sorry, John.
Okay.
I didn't notice Phil or Jill there. That's what I meant to
Jill.
I'm not good around people.
say. Really? Well, I didn't notice Phil there. How about
Phil
that?
was definitely out of the state, as I recall. That's my
you
recollection.
must have been working. I forgot about that.
Working hard.
Yep.
Yes.
He's got
on the
a
West
pretty
Coast.
easy life. Easy life.
Las Vegas.
No stress, easy life.
Yeah.
Phil Taillon.
Oh yeah, it's been a.
But by the way, kudos to all the people that came out in the cold and drove out to Fort Wayne because it's a trek.
How many signatures did we get that day?
284.
That's awesome.
Between what Allen County had at their meeting and what we did on the street. So,
And then, like what they did there, and then I gave a speech, half hour ish, and I don't really say I killed it all out. I think I killed that one.
it was a great speech. From what
yeah.
I heard, I mean, we were trying to organize and get people out in the street, but it was good.
It was
well
packed.
received.
I was fired up. It's funny if I see a big crowd, I get just naturally more fired up. It's sort of
Sure.
like on the pod, when I see a big crowd, I get like I sort of amp
Naturally
it up
pumped.
a little bit, right?
Well, you've obviously been to Fort Wayne and New Albany in the past, but you've got to be visiting some towns and cities you've never been to before. I'm sure.
Oh no, yeah, no. Never been to, but don't go too often. Like last night,
and haven't spoke at them.
Last night I went. Yeah, haven't spoke there. I
Right.
went to Huntington County last night, and that's
What's
in
Huntington
southwest
is,
of Fort Wayne. It's a 2-hour 45-minute drive there and back.
What's the county seat? Huntington.
Yeah,
Okay.
Huntington County.
Got it.
And I went there last night, down and back, which I try not to do. I've only done that a couple times, the down and back. That sucks. And
Yep.
I had Jeff Smith driving his personal vehicle. We never take city vehicles. I want to point that out because there's some people like, oh, it must be nice. No, we drive personal vehicles. Jeff gets reimbursed for his mileage from the campaign, and he's nice enough to do it on his off time. And that wasn't a lovely trip. It was 2-hour 45, 2 hour
6 hours on the
45.
road, man.
And I literally spoke for 45. So for 5+ hours of driving, I get a 45-minute speech in front of 25, 30 people.
I think the cool thing though, John and I went down, took a little side trip on Saturday morning to Wells County, which is Bluffton, Indiana. And John, what an interesting little trip, right? It was kind of cool. You go to these small counties,
Yeah.
and they have like a, Wells County Democratic headquarters, and it's right downtown. John and I stopped at this 90-year-old bakery, had a great visit with the owner. It was fun. I mean, it's kind of fun. That's one good thing about being on the road. is you really get to see a lot of Indiana really cool things. We went to the Goshen Fire and Ice Festival on Friday night, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Really cool. Just campaigning and getting your word out.
Question in chat. Tom, do you plan on going to Bloomington?
I've been to Bloomington
All
a couple
right.
times, and a couple times as a candidate.
Yeah.
And of course, Bloomington's one of the bastions of Democratic votes in southern Indiana.
In the
Well,
ninth
I consider it southern Indiana. Some people, the weird thing is when I get out and
Isn't
I talk
that
to people
interesting?
from southern Indiana, they're like, "Oh, you're going north to Bloomington?" I'm like, and they consider that more central Indiana. I
Those
guess
Yankees.
it depends on your perspective.
Absolutely.
We consider it southern Indiana, but you talk to people from New Albany, Evansville, they're like, "Oh, that's not southern Indiana.
That's up north in
We're
Bloomington.
southern Indiana. That's like central Indiana." But
I mean-
yes, Bloomington is great. You know,
I think you met with Mayor Hamilton.
Mayor Hamilton and I have known each other for a long time. He's a great guy. You know, done a great job, and it's a lovely city. Yeah, so
You've been busy, I guess. Is the
I like
message
walking
there.
in his office, and you look at the map, you see where the new push pins are,
Yeah.
like, you know, the new cities that
I
you
have another one today. I'm going to release that publicly eventually.
Huntington.
Yeah, I haven't hit that one yet. I mean, I haven't hit it on the map yet. I did it last night. So
I wonder what Todd Young's and yours would look like side by side.
Todd Young's is easy. There's no
It's only in Washington.
There's
we don't
no
have.
pin?
Yeah.
It's only a map of DC, John.
One
we
pin.
don't have.
one pin.
right. He doesn't. I'm working way harder than Todd Young. Let's be honest. Like Todd Young sitting in D.C., he doesn't have to work hard. He has millions of dollars.
He does.
He doesn't have to talk to Hoosiers. He has millions of dollars. Right?
Just bought some TV time. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah, I don't need to shake hands and talk to Hoosiers. Why would I do that? I got millions and millions of dollars, right? I'm out there. Tom McDermott's out there talking to voters, talking about the issues, actually driving across the state and going to places. Todd Young's not doing that.
Like you said, he doesn't have to when you got that much money.
He
in the
doesn't
bank.
think he has to, but he's going to learn differently.
I'm going to
next
make his
November.
map for him, Mayor. I'm gonna make his map and put his pin, and we'll put them side by side so we can show everybody where he's been as well.
Yeah,
Get a map of
that'd
the
be
Beltway.
interesting.
Yeah.
A map of Maryland.
It's Maryland, Virginia, and
Indianapolis Airport.
Yeah. All right. Well, you've been on the road a lot. Why don't we do ads real quick? Come
Okay.
back. We'll get mailbag.
Okay.
We got an article about this interesting bill that's in the State House,
Yeah.
where some members of our state House of Representatives seem to be espousing.
We don't need to take a position on Nazism,
No, why
right?
would we want to
Right.
do that? So
Welcome to the Hoosier state, right? These people in the supermajority in the State House are absolutely insane.
sometimes they make me just scratch my head even harder.
All right, season 5, episode 3. Season 5 has been sponsored by our premier sponsor, Powering America.
Pow.
Season 5 is powered by our premier sponsor, Powering America. With the explosive growth of renewable energy in America today, call Powering America to meet your needs for renewable energy in your home or office, including electric vehicle charges and solar power solutions. Trust the electrical professionals of Powering America. That's right. Visit poweringnorthwestindiana.org. That's poweringnorthwestindiana.org.
Pow. Try Electronics. Wants to be your complete communications provider? Try Electronics has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years. We're dedicated to assisting our clients with their systems integration needs. They have the expertise and experience to provide superior results for a wide variety of projects. For more information, call Try Electronics today at 800-722-6793.
Byway Brewing. Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outside patio. Brewing equipment offers a unique backdrop for your private event like weddings, reunions, and corporate parties. We are conveniently located just off of 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Come on by and enjoy Byway's award-winning beers and unbeatable menu.
Can we mention that we were there yesterday, and we introduced the mayor to a new appetizer there
Yeah.
that we knew he would like, and he devoured.
Oh, my God. It was so good.
Cauliflower pizza?
No.
F that.
It was spicy.
Whoa.
Snapdragons.
Snapdragons, yeah.
Yes.
Dude.
What is
Those-
that?
Yeah, what is that?
It's
They're
like hot
spicy.
peppers.
It's some small pepper that
Yeah,
they
it's not super spicy, but
Right.
it's spicy, and it's got like a really good sauce.
really
on it.
good sauce. A bowl of them.
I ate like a whole bowl. By the
on-
way, that lunch we had yesterday at Byway was spectacular. My lunch was great.
Phenomenal.
I'm telling you, man. That
Go-
was like one of the best business lunches I've had in a long time. That's not just
Go for the beer, stay for the food.
patting a sponsor on the back. I'm talking that was good food. Like, hats off to Byway, and I don't say that very often, man. Like, in fact, we had another restaurant the last time we got together in council lunch that botched it.
Yep.
I didn't even eat at that one. I had to leave an hour and a half after it started. I didn't even have my meal.
Yeah.
Giovanni's. Excuse me.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On it.
There will be nowhere left for you to eat in the region.
Dude, that's what I know. We're getting worried, right? Because, like, seriously, I'm Xing them off left and right. I left at 1:30 on a business lunch, and I didn't even have my meal yet.
They were short.
Kevin, you left.
I had to leave too. Yeah,
From Giovanni's.
And I am a huge fan of that restaurant. I've
Old
gone
management.
there.
Old
yeah,
management.
old management. I've gone there.
Old management.
I've gone there for.
This
30
is
years.
new management. I agree.
Yeah.
And like we had a business lunch. It was scheduled. And we go there, and it took an hour and a half, and we still didn't even have our meals. I had to be back at work.
I think the problem that I had with it was what should have happened is the manager or the server should have come over early on and said, "Hey, we are really short-staffed today. Something happened. You guys are in here early. If you don't,
We weren't early. It was noon.
I agree. Well, they probably open at 11, right?
It was noon.
Yeah.
That's what people do.
But they should have given us
noon.
the option to say, like, we may not have your food out for a long time, and given us the option.
I would
to
have been
say,
gone
like,
if they said that.
Right.
But
That's what
that
they
was
should have
part
done.
of the problem at Giovanni's. Let's make it clear.
Yeah.
We did a Byway commercial and talked about how great Byway was. Now we're talking about on the other extreme. Like, they didn't even communicate. First off,
that was my issue.
it took us forever to get bread, like 45 minutes to get bread.
Bread's good, though.
To get your Coke or lemonade, 45 minutes. And then after that, we put in our order. That took 15 minutes. So we're there for an hour, half hour, nothing.
Yeah, it was.
I'm like, I got to go, guys. It was embarrassing. I was with the whole, with my team and with the city council. I'm like, I got to go back to work. I'm like literally late for a meeting now, and I still haven't even got my main course. So needless to say, we're not going back there for a business lunch. Giovanni's,
not
that is.
anytime soon. I went back a couple times
Yeah.
after, and the service was okay. But
Do you
Did you?
think
Yeah, I
there are?
did.
Do you think there are more push pins on Tom's map of restaurants he won't go to versus
It's
Which
good.
one's
It's
it?
a
Which
toss
one's
up.
right now?
Indiana.
Which
It's a
one?
toss up right now. It's just that
Jalapenos?
one.
No.
Well, you've eaten back there. You've gone back.
Jalapenos? No, I have not gone back there.
We have a photo.
He's had
of
it
you
brought
eating.
to him?
Somebody brought food to me and I ate it. I didn't know where it was from.
So it's not really a boycott.
It wasn't. Didn't
it's
have
just,
like
I'm
a,
not going back there.
No,
physically.
I will not go back there physically. And if somebody brings me Mexican food, I eat it. Right? They didn't say, "Hey, this is Mexican food from Jalapenos," and I would have been like,
I mean, someone outed you. Someone specifically outed you.
Yeah. After I'm eating it, Marissa take a picture, and I'm like, "Why are you taking a picture of me eating a taco?" And
Oh,
she's
that's
like,
blackmail.
"I know."
That is
She's like, "Oh, you're
blackmail.
eating jalapenos." I'm like, "That is some
Did you
bullshit."
say you
right
brought
there.
it to me?
I know.
It
And of
was like a
course,
setup.
I'm a weakness. It's like if you were a heroin addict, right? And somebody brings heroin and you were trying to recover, and they're like, "I got some heroin right here," and you're like,
And
and
they
you
didn't
do
tell
it.
you what. They didn't tell you like what dealer, and that dealer like you've got off your list.
But what I'm saying is, you don't tempt a heroin addict with heroin, right? She brings Mexican food to me. I'm not supposed to eat jalapenos. She knows full well I'm not supposed to. And I start eating jalapenos, and then she takes a picture of me.
You look like you were enjoying it.
Tom?
I did enjoy it, but that
Tom.
doesn't mean I wanted to eat jalapenos.
Are you telling me you can't identify the place that a taco is from?
No.
Really?
You can identify, like, if you look at a taco, you know who made it?
100%.
Oh, that's a Raimundo El Taco for sure.
100%.
Not me. And I'm a
we
kind
need to
of-
do a blind taste.
Oh,
If
we
given
do.
like
Let's go. That's a
Yeah.
great
That's
idea.
a great-
if given like maybe of 3 or 4, I probably could, but not of like
That
any.
could be tough.
If anyone just put one in front of you and said, "Where is it from?" That's tough.
We have
Someone
so
said,
many Mexican restaurants.
Three.
in this
So many
area.
good
That
ones.
is I could tell Taco Bell because it's cheesy.
Who
cheap
eats
stuff.
there? That doesn't count.
So, okay, I go back to my
No one eats Taco
jalapenos and
Bell.
Giovanni's. What else?
BW3s you went back to.
B-dubs.
BW3s.
Oh,
You went back to them.
You've gone back there.
Well, then they changed my sauce.
Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot.
I don't know
I
about
haven't been
this.
back there since. They took away my sauce.
Which was what?
Hot barbecue. Who does that?
Gone.
Why would they get rid of it? Like,
Thank you.
You must have been the only person ordering it.
In America? I hardly doubt. I hardly doubt. This is a national chain.
Maybe in the region.
They're like, we're going to take one sauce out, hot barbecue. That's like literally the only reason I went to that place.
Is that a popular sauce?
I guess not. He's going to say got rid of it. So,
It is for you.
It was very popular. I would chow on that stuff. It was so hot and it was so barbecue. It was great. What the hell is the matter with
Thus
them?
the name Hot Barbecue.
That's-
So anyway.
barbecue.
What about
It's
Bombers?
so hot
Last
and so
one. Bombers?
barbecue-y.
Bombers? No, I can't
yeah,
go to Bombers.
Bombers.
You can't go to Bombers.
You know why? Because they called my wife a bitch on social
Well, not-
media.
I mean, one guy employee.
It was
Yeah, and then I went to the management.
It wasn't
This is
the- it
Bombers.
wasn't the restaurant, it
Oh,
was the
everybody's
guy.
all super. Oh my God! Don't say that about Bombers. Okay, so my wife, when she was campaigning for judge 6 years ago, went in there and went through the line at Bombers, and then got Bombers barbecue, and then tipped the person, and then he went on social media after for all to see and called Marissa a bitch and said that bitch doesn't tip. So I show
He
up to
said the
Bombers.
B word? He said
Says it online. So
Unnecessary.
I'm like, this dude's
Wow.
calling my wife out on social media. Time to go to Bombers. So I go to Bombers and I see this little fat boy, with his little man ponytail, right? And I'm like, hey, little boy, want to come talk to me? You want to call my wife a bitch? I'm right here. And then he like hid because he plays video games. He doesn't actually confront people.
Right.
He's like a video game
Keyboard warrior.
man,
Dungeons
ponytail.
and Dragons? Are we back to Dungeons and Dragons?
Here we are again.
So the
There we
manager
are.
comes out to me. This is 6 years ago when I was less mature, by the way. I just want to. So the manager comes up to me and I said, hey, that guy called my wife a bitch. He works for you. And he goes, okay, I'll take care of it. And I'm like, well, what are you going to do? And he's like, I'll take care of it. And I'm like, you don't really care about this, do you? He's like, what am I supposed to do, really? Like, he calls your wife a bitch. What am I supposed to do? And I'm like, okay. Every person I meet for the rest of my life, I'm going to tell them Bomber's Barbecue called Judge Marissa McDermott a bitch on social media and did nothing about it.
There you go.
Whoa.
Way
True
to go,
story.
John.
And promise fulfilled.
This is all John's
I haven't been there
doing.
since. I haven't been there since.
And
And I
you
hear
have
people
told
talk about
everyone.
and people are like, oh my God, Bombers is so good. And I'm like, yeah, they call my wife a bitch on social media.
A bad
is
restaurant
good.
experience is one thing. That one's a little bit more.
What would you do, Phil?
No, that's more
Yeah,
personal.
you can't go back.
You
there.
know, you talk about my wife, say something like that, we got a problem.
Yeah, Bombers Barbecue did that. They called their customers bitches, you know, and I'm sure they're calling your wife a bitch too, you know, when they get a chance. It's Bombers Barbecue of Munster.
There
Now-
you go. And of Crown Point now.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
Marissa brings home Bombers and puts it in front of you. But,
She would
you
not
know,
do that. Marissa would not do that.
Okay.
I would
Has
get
Marissa
pissed.
been
went
back?
back.
I would
Yeah.
get
Has
pissed.
Marissa been back?
She has a weakness for barbecue. Yeah. She does. It pisses me off too. She hides it from me like she's like in the closet eating it.
Marissa's in the
That
chat.
smells like a bomber's.
Is that freaking Bombers?
Marissa's in the chat.
Yes,
and
Oh,
I have been.
no.
I have
I
been to
have
bombers
been to
since, she
Bombers
says.
since. Smiley face.
Why is she saying that? Like, you don't encourage.
Calls you out.
They
She's
did
like,
call, but
I
like,
don't know why Tom had to make a big scene.
Kevin,
I
what would
still-
you?
I've been
Oh,
pissed.
I was
agree.
gonna.
I don't. I'm
and
not,
plus-
I know you, and I know you would do that.
And you know how I feel about man
Yes.
buns and all that, you know. So I show up and I see this little boy with a man bun. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna pound your
I
ass.
think
And
you
he
called
knew
him a
it.
fat boy. Is what you said.
He knew I was like smoke coming out of my ears. I'm like, come here, little boy. And he did not come anywhere near me. He knew who I was. He knew why I was there.
Oh
and I was
my
like, come here, little boy. And then the manager came up. I'm like, I'm going to freaking pound that little guy right there. He's calling my wife a bitch on social media. And by the way, she did tip. She tips so much. I tip.
course.
Marissa and I are like excessive tippers.
It's some douchebag that decided he wanted to go on social media and be a keyboard warrior.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And,
then
then
he almost
all of
got
a sudden,
he
what
almost
do you
got
mean
his
you're
ass
here?
kicked.
Right.
He almost
I
got his
mean,
ass kicked.
People like that.
And the worst part wasn't even true, right? She actually
Dude,
tipped.
she
That was
tips
the
so
worst
much.
part of the whole story.
That's the thing. Marissa tips all the time. That's how she is, and that's how I am. By the way,
there-
we both were hourly workers. We know what it's like to make
Sure.
tips, right?
Yeah.
There are so many people. I mean, all you have to do is look at WMCD, look at the trolls on there. They write all this bullshit about the mayor, about any of us, and all this. You see them personally, they're like, "Oh, hey, mayor."
Right.
Hey,
Dude,
mayor.
That's Mad Mac all day. Every time I see MX too. Every time I
Total-
see him,
total
these guys are like.
douches.
Every time I see him, and then they get away, they're like, "Oh, that McDermott, you're such a little suck ass."
That should be your new
Honestly.
mailbag sound effect. I actually like that one better.
We were in the middle.
MX.
By the way, we
Can't
have
wait
two more
till there's
ads
a
to do.
button for
Just
that.
not that our sponsors care.
It's all right. Let's do it.
Ready?
Well, anyway,
Bombers
I still challenge you.
Barbecue.
Bombers, yeah. So we got Bombers, Giovanni's, Jalapenos, and BW3s. Anything else?
If
I-
WMCD was a restaurant, you've been back there.
True. They
It's not
called
a
you. Who
restaurant,
knows all
though.
the names they've called
What-
you?
yeah, right,
And
they
then
have
you've
called
gone
me a
right
lot.
back on.
Yeah.
Don't call my wife names. Call me all you want.
Sure.
You know, that tells
Don't
me
call my wife
I agree
names.
with you. There you
Don't
go.
call my wife names.
You can take it.
I can take
But
it.
you're not going to let anybody do that to Marissa. I agree
But
with
if Marissa goes back, it almost gives you free reign.
Agree. That's why I don't even appreciate you guys bringing that up.
Sorry.
that. Thank you, John.
Well, she's in the chat. She was
Telling
gonna,
everybody. Yeah.
I didn't bring up bombers.
Yeah.
Misprint specializes in delivering the highest quality signs and printing on time and within budget. Misprint's experience and technology allows them to offer custom commercial on-demand printing and sign solutions you can count on. Rick Balzenberger and his team have served Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. Misprint has 2 convenient locations in Munster and Hammond, and of course they make metal business cards.
and Rick's never called you a bitch.
Nope. Rick would never do that.
How do you know?
Well,
To my face.
There
That's
you go.
true.
Executive Suites Squared. This is a mouthful.
Less than it used to be.
Executive Suites Squared, commonly known as ES2, is a first-class executive office environment located on I-80. Oh, wow.
I took out the I, just as
You
John
did a good
requested.
job. I could tell already it's way better. I'm going to start over again, okay?
Yep.
Executive Suite Squared, commonly known as ES2, is a first-class executive office environment located on 8094 at Kennedy Avenue ES2 offers flexible membership plans that provide the privacy of dedicated, fully furnished offices with 24/7 secured access. So no matter how big or small your business may be, they can accommodate the way you work. For more information on their basic or private office membership packages or to rent one of their state-of-the-art conference rooms, call them at 219-844-2901 or visit them at executivesuites2.com.
Good work. You keep getting stuck with that one. Not stuck with
It's
it,
a
but
mouthful.
you keep reading that one.
All right, mailbag?
Mailbag. What do you got?
Mailbag.
Dear Mayor McDermott and the Common Council. So this is to my bosses,
Wow,
too.
to many people.
Gibson Woods Wild Ones is a local chapter of a national not-for-profit organization. Our chapter is based out of Gibson Woods Nature Preserve. Our mission is to promote environmentally friendly sound landscaping, to preserve biodiversity through the preservation, restoration, and establishment of native plant communities. Although the Briar East Dune Woodlands is degraded, it still provides so many benefits. The native plants provide habitat for native and migratory species. The area mitigates noise and air pollution from 8094. These woodlands sequester carbon and absorb large amounts of rainwater. If the area is paved, this water will have to go somewhere else, probably into somebody's basement. These woods are a small oasis of nature in an urban environment. Every day we walk and work surrounded by pavement and buildings, by roads and traffic. It would be wonderful if we could protect this small area of trees and sand, birds and butterflies and native plants that is surrounded by apartments and businesses. Besides the practical and important realities of sequestering carbon and mitigating flooding, people just need more nature in their lives. The trains are an annoyance, but there is an alternative, more pragmatic route for the bridge that would not entail leveling the woods and dunes, which would be a win-win for the city and its residents. There are many sites where additional houses could be built, which would not destroy habitat. Preserving the Briar East Dune Woodlands could be part of your legacy of protecting the environment, mitigating climate change, saving wildlife, and offering citizens a welcome walk in the woods. Sincerely, Kim M.
That was respectful.
Well
It is.
thought out.
No, it is.
It
It
was
was very
long.
respectful. That's why it was very long. I should have probably edited it a little bit, but I don't really agree with the fact that there's alternate, more pragmatic route for the train. In fact, we looked everywhere for another route, and it's just not possible because of the elevation that's required to get over the trains. In that area, we have to be 22 feet in the air by the time we get to the railroad, and you could only ascend at a certain rate per feet. So we need a very long span to get up to 22 feet and then back down again. And the only span that we could do that in this congested neighborhood is the route we chose.
Well, I thought
and that's a fact. So it's either bridge over train, or we continue to wait for trains with no end in sight.
Yeah, I mean, I even heard somebody say like, "Oh, let's just put it down Kennedy Avenue." I mean, what? I mean, it's crazy.
Jack Smith is in the chat. There's also a sewer consideration, too. Is that right? He said all water in that area will go directly into the storm side of the system.
Right. And this letter says it's going to go into somebody's basement. That's absolutely insane. Like, I mean, whatever. Yeah, we're going to route it directly into somebody's basement.
I mean, the upside is I think the good thing is you're reading, you understand the counter position.
I get it.
You get it, and
someone
has to make a decision has to be made, right?
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about right now, because it's a local issue, we did a survey of all the residents of this area. We were very clear that if we took the route that we feel that we have to take in order to get us over these stop trains, it will result in the leveling of hundreds of trees, and we'll have to go through an area that's what's described by the state of Indiana as a low-quality dune area, and that's how the state of Indiana describes it. Some people say that this area we're going through is actually refuse from when they built Morton High School. They took all the land and all the debris and dumped it into this area that we're going through, and then over the years it became more natural, but it's really sort of a dumping area that we're going through. So it's not like, and by the way, Gibson Woods, which is hundreds of acres, Phil,
John,
That
right?
sounds right.
hundreds of acres.
I've never actually
is
looked it
literally
up.
a half a mile from here. So if you really want to go take that walk in nature, like this resident, like this letter says, go a half a mile north, and it's literally a park that will never be destroyed. It will never be leveled, and it's described by the state of Indiana as a dune and swale, recognized by the state.
Yeah, and I get that. There is a lot of truth in the fact that like as places get developed and like farmland turns into concrete. Why do you think Hart's Ditch and Little Cal River gets pushed so much now? It's all the development down south. But this is an area that I think in Hammond it's already developed. I mean, Hammond's developed, right?
I grew up in Hussville my entire life. I've been to Gibson Woods probably 20 times, sometimes not for the right reasons, by the way, when I was younger. But this one, I never even knew about it. Nobody talked about it. Nobody ever went back. I don't know. I'm taking the common sense approach. I grew up in that area. Never went back into Briar East Woods, if that's what it's called. So,
All right.
Same, Phil. Grew up in Hessville. I never knew this existed.
yeah, I think
Outstanding.
I wish it was a camera on Parish Avenue to see exactly how many people actually went in there, because I'll bet you it's a handful.
I bet you yesterday, not even one person went in there because it's cold out. I mean,
And it's not designated by the state. I mean, it's just not an, I don't know.
hey, let's do the last set of. We have two more stories. One more story we definitely want to hit. Let's go ahead, and it's a good one. It's about Indiana supermajority legislator that said teachers in Indiana need to be impartial about Nazism. We don't want to give kids our opinion about the Nazis and the Holocaust. So we want to cover this story. It's something that's actually happening right here in good old Indiana. Not necessarily reflective of our entire population. This is just one real dumb Indiana state senator that we're going to be talking about.
Senate Bill 167.
Senator Baldwin, for the record.
Newly elected? Is that right?
Not sure. Never heard of this genius. But let's go ahead and we'll cover this when we get back. But let's go ahead and hit some ads real quick.
Sure.
Bill, why don't you hit the first one?
You got it. Challenger Learning Center. This Valentine's Day, embark on a date night like no other to create a love connection for a lonely Mars rover. Join Challenger Learning Center on Saturday, February 12th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., a brand new Red Planet romance event with dinner and drinks presented by Byway Brewery. Register today at clcnwi.com.
Calumet Brewery. Let's get the new year started with Michelob Ultra. Ultra has only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, so it's sure to keep your resolutions in check while continuing to be one of the fastest growing brands nationally and in the region. Take your resolutions to the next level and try an organic light lager with only 2.5 carbs and 85 calories. Ultra Pure Gold is brewed for your healthy lifestyle. Check out calbrew.com or CalBrew's Facebook page for brand info and giveaways. Cheers with beers.
Grisolia's Concrete. Grisolia's Concrete was voted number 1 in the Times Best of the Region 2020 and 2021. Grisolia's Concrete specializes in all of your concrete projects, and they have been using the original cement finish in the California style
You're getting
since
there.
1972, and also offers stamped and colored concrete. Call now, 219-659-4127. That is 219-659-4127 to get your project lined up for the spring. Tortillas Nuevo Leon.
Wow.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard of Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón.
Is
Thank
that
you, Eli.
Steve, the one that gets all these sponsors?
Yeah.
Steve Kellogg?
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, we
some
got one
good
new
places.
one.
So he's
Doesn't
not
matter to
doing
him.
his job, is what I'm hearing right now.
Does he and you write the ads, Kevin? Right?
Actually, Steve does some of the reads, yeah.
Okay.
Most
And
of
then
them, yeah.
Kevin rewrites them.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit. He did get the executivesweets2.com website wrong. That's the right one, by the way.
Kevin likes to add in verbs and
Periods.
pronouns.
There's a little bit of a run-on sentence one time.
The first time I read it, it was like one sentence. But,
And Steve rewrote it. He did good.
Steve's like,
Good job.
Byway Brewery, eat food.
Drink beer. I think Steve came up with beers for or cheers with beers.
Nice.
Was that him?
hey, guys, I want to talk about a story I read in the Washington Post about
Yes.
Indiana.
It's always good when Indiana hits the
Indiana's in
WAPO.
the Washington Post. Indiana State Senator Scott Baldwin, who's calling me spam risk? I tell you, Todd Young, you put me on that spam list. I'm telling you, man. He did. He put me on a spam list.
I've got
He thinks
money,
it's
and
funny.
I'm putting you on a spam list.
Got me on the spam list.
If you can equate Todd Young to the spam calls that everybody gets, you're going to win this race for
I
100%.
love that.
30 points.
Hands down.
Those spam calls you guys are getting, Senator Todd Young sends them to you.
He's
That's right.
personally giving your number out to everybody.
He does it because you don't vote for him. So
Paid
It-
for by McDermott for Indiana.
That's right. Republican Senator Scott Baldwin came out recently and became famous. On Wednesday, during an Indiana State Senate committee hearing about a proposed bill that would ban "quote-unquote" divisive concepts in school classrooms, Republican Senator Scott Baldwin said teachers' lessons about fascism and Nazism should be impartial. That's right. Marxism, this is what he's saying. Marxism, Nazism, Fascism. I have no problem with the education system providing instruction on the existence of these isms, said Baldwin, who co-wrote the bill. I believe that we've gone too far when we take a position. We need to be impartial.
Let's see that. Let's
Can
see
we
that little.
play
And
it?
by the way, so this is a Indiana school teacher, kind of talking to Senator Baldwin during the committee hearing on the bill. It's like a 40-second clip.
Yep.
I'm not discrediting as a person Marxism, Nazism, fascism. I'm not discrediting
Dude,
any
looks
of
like a
those
Nazi.
isms out there. And I have no problem with the education system providing instruction on the existence of those isms. I believe that we've gone too far when we take a position on those isms as it relates to, we need to be impartial. Again, I'm going to use this term. We need to be the purveyors of reason. We just provide the facts. The kids formulate their own viewpoints. When we start to tell them how to think, even though we may have strong convictions, I'm with you on those particular isms. You and I are on the same side. But I'm not sure it's right for us to determine how that child should think. And that.
Wow.
Dummy. Freaking dummy, man. Senator Baldwin is a dummy. I think we could all agree on that. So if I see a fifth grader that is like adoring Nazism, just let him think for himself, right? Oh, yeah, racism, form your own opinion about racism. You're an idiot, Scott Baldwin. You're an idiot. It makes our state look bad. You should resign to save state of Indiana embarrassment.
He backtracked those comments. What do you know? After all of a sudden he became
Well, yeah,
America's
'cause-
darling on social media.
By the way, interesting side bit, because a lot of people start digging into this gentleman. I use the term loosely for Senator Baldwin. They start digging on this guy to see if, is he a sympathizer with, Nazism? Is he a sympathizer with racism? And then he was elected in 2020, has faced scrutiny in the past, the Star reported, after his home was included on a list of...
Name, right?
His name was, included on a list of purported members of the Oath Keepers, a far-right, self-styled militia group accused of participating in the January 6th Capitol riot. The state senator denied involvement, telling the newspaper he made a $30 donation to the group during an unsuccessful 2010 bid for county sheriff, but had no interaction with the Oath Keepers since then.
All right, so
I only donated to him. I'm not a supporter.
Yeah, I thought this gentleman, the teacher who you saw at the beginning of the clip, and that was part of the we didn't show that part, but he's a U.S. history teacher in Fishers, which is pretty good. I would say generally a red area. Fishers is, but of course it's probably more purple now than it used to be.
Right.
Northeastern suburb of Indy, and he said he was worried about a section of the bill that says educators cannot affect the students' attitudes, habits, traits, opinions, so forth and so on, beliefs and feelings. He said, for example, it's the second semester of U.S. history. We're learning about the rise of fascism and the rise of Nazism right now, and I'm just not neutral on the political ideology of fascism. We condemn it in full, and I tell my students the purpose in a democracy of understanding the traits of fascism, so that we can recognize it and we can combat it. I mean, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with educators giving their opinion on something like Nazism?
They're professionals, right?
I would hope so.
I'm not a professional teacher, and I'm a lawyer. I went to law school. I went to school a lot of years of my life, and I would never dare tell Patrick's teachers what to teach or how to teach them, because I'm not a teacher.
Think about that.
I'm not an expert.
It kind of reminds me of
Jill, you were a teacher, right?
Sure was.
I wouldn't tell you how to do it. You have a way better insight. You and Lindsay both. The two teachers in the studio, by the way, both former teachers. Why? Because the freaking state of Indiana messes with you constantly, tells you how to do your job.
Won't pay you enough.
Right? Like, you're an expert. The teacher that was speaking in the state senate is an expert, and Senator Baldwin, the genius, oath keeper, is telling him how to do his job.
Yeah, and one part of the bill, which even just fascinates me about this, is that it says that teachers now will have to post their lessons in advance, which many teachers do anyway. Like, I know that Charlie's teachers, it's on a thing called Blackboard. And that parents can opt their child out of a lesson.
It's like a menu at McDonald's. No, my kid's going to skip
And
the Civil War.
We're gonna skip slavery.
Yeah, we'll skip that one. I don't really want you giving your opinion on slavery, right?
Well, I mean, think of
or in this case, like Holocaust.
Sure, the Holocaust.
No, you're not going to that. You're not going to Wednesday,
right?
This is the hill.
You're not going to the Holocaust, right?
This is the hill he wants to die on. The Nazism hill. Like, this is the one I got to stand up for.
The interesting thing, and I know that for the people listening to the pod, you couldn't see the video like we were watching. I was watching the people around Senator Baldwin when he said that to see if anybody. There was one guy next to him that was looking at him like. You could tell if ice could speak. He's like, "Are you freaking serious, dude? Like, Scott, where are you going with this?
Where are you going?"
Well, I mean, I think and Mayor, we talked about this before when we were talking about Juneteenth. You and I, as 50-year-old white guys, when we were in school, did not learn anything about Juneteenth,
or
did not learn about
right?
And in Oklahoma,
Tulsa.
right? Oh, right, exactly, Oklahoma,
Black Wall Street.
That's right, Black Wall Street. We didn't know anything about that, and so I think that there's something to be said about it's okay to teach kids as much as you can about as many things as you can and let them suck it in and make their own opinions.
That's right. I consider myself pretty heavy on U.S. history. I think I know U.S. history pretty well. Most of the times I could identify the president, the issues of the time. If somebody says, hey, 1910, what's going on, right? In fact, Patrick and I played this game the other day. I never heard about Black Wall Street. I never heard about the Tulsa race riots. I never heard about that whole section of Tulsa that was annihilated in the race riots of 1919, I believe.
Long time ago, 100 years ago.
1920.
Like that. Yeah. I think because it was 100th year anniversary last year,
2021. I never heard about that. And I went to school, and I went to grad school, and I have advanced degrees. I took lessons on history, and I've never heard about that. Why? Because somebody probably 100 years ago decided not to teach it anymore.
Because
it's not convenient to tell little kids about how we burned down a black neighborhood in Tulsa because we didn't like them because they were African American. We don't want to learn that kind of stuff, right? To me, that's critical race theory. It's like we have a great history to be very proud of in America, and we've also done some really dumb things. And we're going through a dumb time right now, by the way. And we're going to look back on this period of time 50, 60 years from now and be embarrassed, hopefully.
I think it's one of those things that, I mean, I just know when I was a student, I just wanted to learn everything. Teach me, let me learn about as many things as I can. And kids are like that. If you have this is probably a bad example, but if you have a kid who may not be like their parents. Maybe their parents just, weren't good in school or didn't like school or, to just like whatever. And they don't care that their kids, what their kid's doing in school. These parents now can maybe opt out of lessons that the kid could learn.
Right.
The kid could get more educated.
Right. That's right.
And what's wrong with your kid being more educated than the parent?
And by the way, we're giving a lot of credit to American parents. No offense. We're giving a lot of credit. Like I met some brilliant people. Campaigning. I met some brilliant people over the years that are great parents, and I've also met some people that aren't great parents, and I've also met some people that aren't brilliant. Okay, and what we're saying is these teachers now, in addition to making $30,000 a year or whatever that you're making, in addition to being dictated to by Senator Baldwin and the Republican supermajority, we're also going to let all the parents nitpick your curriculum, right? So when you put your curriculum out, Jill, then we're going to have 25 sets of parents that get to criticize you, get to opt out of certain parts.
We've got 12 kids here today that are going to learn about slavery. We've got 13 that aren't.
13.
I mean, like what?
But part of that was if they opt out, you have to provide them with a separate
lesson. Oh, good. You get to do more work.
Right.
So you get to do your lesson plan and a lesson plan for the kids that opt out, right? Mm-hmm. Senator Baldwin is an idiot. He is an idiot.
The other thing of this bill that's also out there is that there's going to be a curriculum advisory committee in each school district made up of 60% people that aren't teachers.
Why don't we just let our teachers teach? My mom didn't interfere with my teachers when I was a kid. My dad didn't interfere. Hey, make sure little Tommy learns a lot about algebra today, teacher. No. They trust teachers are experts.
Doesn't this tie into how some people are trying to make school board positions political now?
Good point, Phil.
I mean, that's coming next. That bill hasn't even had a hearing yet.
Absolutely.
They're trying to make the school board so it's not nonpartisan in Indiana.
And why would you do that?
Because they want more politics in the schools.
Exactly right.
Like I want my Republican, school board member. I want my Democratic school board. How about we just put smart people on the school board?
Well, I'll tell you a story. I mean, there have been people that we know are Republicans that would never get, just because of the way the vote generally goes in Hammond, it's a Democratic city.
That's right.
Would never have been on the school board if they had to put R in front of their name.
There's one right now.
Yet, they've been great school board members.
Yes, exactly.
So, be careful what you wish for down in Indianapolis because you are telling folks that may have your party label in Democratic bastions of the state that are good school board members that would never get elected if they put R in front of their name. It's going to, this stuff backfires or it has consequences.
Right now in Indiana, the state police are arguing with the supermajority because the supermajority wants to make Indiana constitutional carry, which means anybody could just carry a gun, no problem, right? You got the teachers saying, don't mess with our curriculums, don't do this, and they're ignoring the teachers, right? We have doctors saying, get vaccinated and wear a mask. We're being ignored there, right? We have scientists that say, hey, global warming, we need to take care of our environment. We're ignoring them there. It seems to me that the Republican supermajority in Indiana doesn't want to hear anything from experts because they must, like Senator Baldwin knows better. He reads Facebook and he knows better than everybody. Like, I believe in experts. I believe in scientists. I believe that if you go to school for 10 years on a subject like the environment, you know more about it than I do, even though I read Facebook.
Yeah, it's something, and it almost seems like there's this menu of legislative priorities set out by Republican, I don't know if it's like a legislative association or something, because like when you see this stuff that Senator Baldwin's about to do, or that he wanted to do, it's in 20 different states already.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they say, oh, let's do this bill.
It is.
Let's do this bill.
They go
Let's
to
do
these
this bill.
national conferences of state legislators, and they tell them how to do it, especially, you go to the Republican side. And
I don't know what white Republican America is afraid of.
Kevin, you mentioned like he has backpedaled since then. His comments.
Yeah, he has.
So that reminded me. Did you guys see Ted Cruz's backpedaling?
What was it?
On the January 6th events? Did you
did
guys
not.
see this? You didn't see it?
It's crazy.
What was it on?
So on January 6th, there was a lot of news coverage about the 1-year anniversary of what took place. Uh-huh. And Ted Cruz was in a Senate hearing or something like that, and he said it was a violent terrorist attack. And
it was a violent terrorist attack, wasn't it?
Depends who you listen.
Yeah, John, wasn't it?
Well, let's
what was
watch
it?
this.
Hold on. What was it?
Was it a violent terrorist attack?
Domestic terrorist.
Let's watch this clip first. Let's watch this clip, and then let's watch what happened right afterwards. He went on Tucker Carlson and reversed his.
I don't watch Tucker Carlson, so that probably explains why I haven't seen this.
You should. You guys might learn a thing.
I want to punch Tucker Carlson. When I see Tucker
He's
Carlson,
a weasel.
he brings out the aggression in me, man. I want to punch him right in the nose.
Same.
He's such a jag-off.
Weasel.
Here it is.
Oh, so is Ted Cruz for that matter.
Two people I'm not fans of.
We are approaching a solemn anniversary this week, and it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage, incredible bravery, risk their lives to defend the men and women who serve in this Capitol.
John, pause that real quick.
Senator Cruz was game enough to come on tonight.
All right, so agree or disagree?
I think I've never heard Ted Cruz make a statement I agreed with until today.
I agree with him.
Wow.
Yes,
Well,
100%.
Well, I mean, Jill, what do you think?
Sounds logical.
Sounds like it makes sense.
What is there that statement he made? I wish Todd Young would make that statement and not be an embarrassment to the state of Indiana like he is, because Todd Young, on the other hand, acts like it was a normal tourist visit, and the Capitol Police didn't do anything exceptional. And the Capitol Police got shocked by cattle prods, sprayed in the face by pepper spray, punched, beaten, murdered, had fire extinguishers thrown at them. People were climbing the walls. It wasn't a normal day at the Capitol, John. That was an attack.
And
by
Capitol
domestic
Police got murdered?
Yes,
Yeah,
I believe.
they died as a result of their injuries, yeah.
I believe there was 150 or so that ended up in the hospital, if I recall.
Yeah,
Dude, they were
130.
beaten. They were beaten down. Like,
Yep.
Weren't properly
if that
equipped.
happened to Hammond police officers, I would be all over whoever did it. I would do everything I could to bring them to justice.
If they
because
stormed City Hall.
that's my job, to protect Hammond police officers. That's part of my job. And there's nothing that would stop me from like being super aggressive to find everybody responsible. And we had Capitol police officers, and by the way, a riot that resulted in the death of that one young lady.
U.S. Air Force.
That's called
veteran.
a conspiracy under the law. If you're part of if you and I decide to rob a bank, Kevin, and we go to the bank and we're not going to shoot anybody, we're just going to steal the money and leave, and somebody dies.
Felony murder.
We're both going to jail for murder because we were in a conspiracy and somebody died. You can't just gloss this over, John.
All right.
I'm not
All right.
glossing anything over.
Tucker
Back
Carlson.
to Tucker.
Okay.
John's like,
Here's Ted Cruz's backpedaling.
Here's the defender.
Appreciate that. He joins us now. Senator, thanks so much for coming on. So I guess there are a lot of dumb people in the Congress. You're not one of them. I think you're smarter than I am. And you never use words carelessly. And yet you called this a terror attack when by no definition was it a terror attack. That's a lie. You told that lie on purpose, and I'm wondering why you did.
Wow.
Well, Tucker, thank you for having me on. When you aired your episode last night, I sent you a text shortly thereafter and said, listen, I'd like to go on because the way I phrased things yesterday, it was sloppy and it was frankly dumb. And,
I don't buy that. Whoa, I don't buy that. Look, I've known you a long time, since before you went to the Senate. You were a Supreme Court contender. You take words as seriously as any man who's ever served in the Senate. And every word, you repeated that phrase. I do not believe that you used that accidentally. I just don't.
So, Tucker, as a result of my sloppy phrasing, it's caused a lot of people to misunderstand what I meant. Let me tell you what I meant to say. What I was referring to are the limited number of people who engaged in violent attacks against police officers. Now, I think you and I both agree that if you assault a police officer, you should go to jail. That's who I was talking about. And the reason the phrasing was sloppy is I have talked dozens, if not hundreds of times. I've drawn a distinction. I wasn't saying that the thousands of peaceful protesters supporting Donald Trump are somehow terrorists. I wasn't saying the millions of
Well, you get
I
the
agree with that.
idea.
I agree with that too. I mean, that he wasn't saying everybody there was a terrorist, but those that did attack the Capitol, I think, are.
How about the ones that just walked in the doors and didn't destroy anything and didn't fight anybody? They just walked in and they took pictures.
Shouldn't be there.
Guilty by association.
They should be charged with trespassing at the
For
least.
sure.
I'm not saying they should be in prison, but you did walk into a building.
Everybody knows you don't just get to walk in the Capitol.
And you went through like the gates that have been knocked down and windows and doors that have been busted open. If you walked in there, you're guilty.
You saw what was happening.
Welcome to my world, by the way, because I argue with John on this stuff all the time behind the scenes. In fact, we have a political text chain that we have that I think I've lost years of my life because I'm on this text chain.
That I would agree with.
Because every time Tucker Carlson says something, I know John's going to be fighting for it the next day.
You
Yes.
like Tucker
How
Carlson?
can you fight for that?
I like Tucker. Yeah,
I want to punch him.
I
want
he's
to
a
punch
little
him.
weasel. Did he get confronted somewhere?
Yeah, he got confronted
In
by a real
Montana?
man in Montana, and Tucker was about to get
He
beaten
looked like
down
a little dog that was like shirking in the corner.
I can't stand Tucker Carlson. You like him, John? I'm sorry.
He's just a mouthpiece for a bunch of people that are.
He reminds me of the little wannabe at WJLB, Mama's Boy. He wants to be like Tucker Carlson so bad. The wannabe Mama's Boy. Yeah.
John, so where are you on this backtracking versus what Ted Cruz said?
I agree with Tucker that Cruz meant to say what he said on January 6th.
I agree with you.
I agree with that.
And the backlash was so intense. I don't know whether to give him credit or not for coming on to Tucker and facing the music.
He looked like he was almost like freaked out that Tucker was calling him out.
Yes.
Right?
And by the way, this clip goes on for 5 minutes where Tucker is not backing down. I mean, he gives it to Cruz.
Well, and I think Cruz deserved it if he's going to try to back down from that comment. Interestingly enough, I saw an article that said that Cruz's use of the word terrorist attack was not some sort of one-time accident. In fact, he had described the Capitol riot as a terrorist attack at least 17 previous times in official written statements and tweets, in remarks at Senate hearings and in interviews. So why this time it raised the ire of Tucker Carlson, I think is a little weird because Cruz had done it 17 times prior.
Wow.
What do you think would have happened if they got a hold of Nancy Pelosi?
Or how about
John,
the
what do you
vice
think?
president?
John, what would have happened if they got a hold of Nancy Pelosi or the vice president? Would that have been a normal tourist visit?
I don't think they would have done anything to them.
Really?
Oh, John.
Nobody would have.
John.
Out of all the people, not one person would have taken a swing.
Remember the noose they had out in the Capitol lawn?
It's all
I don't
symbolism.
know. I mean, what are we talking about? Like, what would have, what could have, I don't know.
It was bad enough. I mean, they were trying to get into the House chamber, pounding in the door.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be what could have. I mean, if you watched any of the video, you saw what actually did happen. I mean, it was a domestic terrorist attack. There's no doubt about it. John and I fight about this all the time.
Yeah,
I think
you're sticking up for the good guys.
Kamala on January 6th said she compared January 6th to Pearl Harbor to 9/11. Pearl Harbor, 2,500 people dead. 9/11, almost 3,000. But are you saying January 6th was?
She's
what does that have to
going with? It was an attack on our soil.
I mean, fine. Compare it to Shays Rebellion. Compare it to the Boston Tea Party. I mean,
War of 1812.
There you go.
When the Capitol was burned down. I think that's more applicable, don't you?
Well, I would say, to me, I'm trying to think of like domestic rebellions, right?
Okay.
Like Shays, or like it was about taxation, or like about Boston Tea Party. I mean, stuff like that where you rebel against domestic people or rebelling against the federal government.
Well, after the Boston Tea Party, then they had the Boston Massacre. It was
Absolutely.
after, right?
And after Shays Rebellion, they got rid of the Articles of Confederation and did the Constitution because these mobs were attacking federal buildings, and there was no federal army to help defend the federal government.
See, the much bigger issue here is there a group of people trying to destroy our democracy right now in the United States? That's why I think John and I, who are friends, fight all the time, because we have such a differing issue on what's going on in our country right now and how scary it is for somebody like me to hear some of the things that I hear from people like Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, the entire party, because they all just reverberate the same crap on every radio station, every TV show.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big question, and maybe the question back to John is, without trying to characterize it as Pearl Harbor or Boston Tea Party or whatever, the question I would have to anybody that wants to say like this was this or this was that is, do you believe that the people that entered the Capitol, especially those that were pounding on the door and trying to get into the House chamber and were rappelling down the Senate chamber, were attempting to disrupt the normal order of business, which was to certify the 2020 election?
I have
if the answer is
no
yes,
clue, because guys,
That's
if that
crazy,
was
John.
an insurrection,
That's
it was
crazy.
the weakest
We can't even-
insurrection ever.
fair enough.
What are you talking about? They broke into the Capitol. That's not
but
weak.
what's their end? And this is what I'm like.
Their end
people
game
have-
was to disrupt the
normal
transfer of
business.
power. That was their end game.
because
That
they
was
could
why
buy
they were
another
there.
day.
Why on that day? Because the entire Congress was meeting in the Congress that day. That's on
certify
that
the
day.
election.
That's right. That's why they did it on January 6th. It wasn't just a date picked out of nowhere. It was constitutional.
And so if the end game was to disrupt the normal order of business and to disrupt the normal transfer of power pursuant to the laws of the United States of America, and you're trying to disrupt that, you can call it anything you want, but it's definitely something that is challenging our democracy. And that's a problem.
I agree, man.
And even more so, and this is really what's dividing our country probably more than anything right now, is did President Trump, was he the person that put this whole event together, that pushed everybody to go and fight?
No.
He used the word fight several times when he was giving his
You need
pre-speech
to fight
before
like
they
hell.
went.
If you don't fight like hell, you get what you deserve.
But yet when I talked to somebody like John, I was like, no, that's not what he meant. When he meant fight like verbally, like, just.
Both the right and left use the word fight all the time.
Whether you-
I do.
Phil.
Fighting for
Come on.
Hammond.
Sure. And
Right,
whether you
John?
blame-
fighting for Hammond. I do
Yes.
say that.
And
but
John,
that
I would-
doesn't mean go like tear down my opponent's house.
Take Trump out of it. All right, even if you have you have these domestic groups that are trying to overturn the election. I mean, just removing Trump. You have to say that that's what they were trying to do that day. They were trying to disrupt the normal order
Who
of
are their
business at the
targets?
Capitol.
Mike Pence.
Mike Pence, Nancy Pelosi.
Why Mike Pence?
Because he is the one who certifies the election.
That's right.
He's the president
That's
pro
right.
tem of the
he
Senate.
was the target because he was the one that was going to certify the election. Right. He was under tremendous power from the President of the United States not to recognize a legal. We agree it was legal, right? I mean, there's been very few instances of fraud in the entire country, and his job was to certify a legally held election. And if he did it, Trump was going to throw him under a bus. If he didn't do it, the American people would. It would have resulted in possibly a civil war,
a constitutional crisis for sure,
big time.
And
like
by the
we've
way,
never seen before.
the electoral votes had been already cast. It was literally him certifying it at that point.
Right. It was all like symbolism, really.
Yeah, because the objections to the electoral votes were over.
He would have been like, if Mike Pence did that, he would be looked at in history like Benedict Arnold.
And instead, I think Mike Pence they'll go back and look at Mike Pence. And not a fan of Mike Pence, right?
Agree.
But on that day, I was very proud of Mike Pence.
I was very proud of Mike
president.
Pence that day also.
Absolutely.
Well, the whole premise was that there was election fraud. It was a fake election,
Right.
and the only thing we can do about it
Is
is
to fight
march
like
to
hell.
exactly.
And, and by the way, that was pressed by the president.
And by the way,
that's exactly my point.
What we forget is there's dumb people out there. That's one thing we forget is sometimes when people hear the words fight like hell, and I'm giving John credit here. I don't know if Donald Trump meant break into the Capitol and threaten people with their lives. I don't know if Donald Trump meant that. I hope he didn't mean that. Okay. But when you say things to some people, they can't handle it. Like you say it to like people that are unstable mentally, and you say fight like hell, and they're like, I'm going to kill so-and-so, right?
That's right.
Because they're mentally unstable.
Or they think, I just got the green light from the president of the United States to do what I think I need to do.
And they can't handle it. They have really...
They can't process it.
Right.
Well, then on top of that, the text messages came out.
Well, I was going to say, I was curious to see what John thought about that.
Okay,
John,
go
isn't
ahead.
it interesting?
I'm looking at chat. So I'm facing three people in the studio here coming at me. Then I've got chat, which is just dumb.
Well, hold it. We got 4 people in the studio. Jill, you need to up your game. And go after John.
I'm not getting. There's nothing I'm going to add to this that you three are not covering.
And she's also closest to John. She doesn't want.
I'm in the splash zone.
Dominic says, "Stop this guy's mic." Well, I'm the producer, so that's not going to happen.
John's going to stop ours.
Hey, part of what makes our show good is we have multiple opinions in here, John. We love you. You're my friend.
Scott Rakos. They were absolutely going to hang Pence. Come on.
Well, you don't know.
Come on.
You guys keep it
there was a noose there.
There was a noose out in front.
You guys keep it civil. Usually, John and I do not keep it so civil.
No, we don't. And this this could be a powder keg if we're not careful, Phil.
I agree. I know.
All right. Well, happy post January 6th, everybody.
Yes.
But we wanted to cover some.
Day.
So anyway, why don't we go ahead and start wrapping the show up?
Wrap it up, Mayor.
It's great to see everybody. I appreciate Phil Taillon stopping by as a guest in the studio. It's good
Thanks,
to see you
Mayor.
again.
Thanks, Kevin.
Good job today, Vez,
coming,
on the
Phil.
technicalities. Thank you again for coming by, Jill, and for lending your expertise when it came to the teachers. We appreciate it. Kevin Smith, Caboose, excellent as always.
Choo-choo.
You're the best caboose I know.
I appreciate that.
Even though they're mostly, not needed anymore. We all agree.
They're all gone.
Not necessary.
But still,
Could be the last caboose.
It's decorative, and we appreciate it.
Could be weighing the show down, but go ahead.
And of course, the locomotive brings it as always. And don't eat at Bomber's Barbecue. Take care, everybody.
Wow.
See you on Friday. Take care.